Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Chair Yoga. Today we are going to be focusing on the heart chakra, or Anahata. We will be building all of our classes this week around that chakra. Some of those classes will be coming to you from the beach in Santa Cruz because we are leaving for vacation this morning. But I wanted to deliver one last class to you before we take off, so please join me on the mat and on the chair. Now, as I've said before, whatever chair you choose is up to you. A lot of people choose a folding chair. I just pick a dining room chair. I choose a chair that doesn't have arms, but because the chair is a little tall for my form, I do put a couple of blocks underneath it, which are really nice for when we go into poses that would have my feet on the floor and allow me to make those adjustments with the blocks and really use them to my advantage. So let's go ahead and sit back all the way against the chair, pressing your back against the chair, pressing your shoulder blades against the chair. And just close your eyes and begin the breath. As you breathe, make sure that your breath is going in and out of your nose. We draw cool air in. We exhale warm air out. As you breathe, expand your belly. And as you exhale, contract the belly. Now I would like you to visualize your breath traveling all the way to the crown of the head. And descending all the way down to the tip of your tailbone. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On your next inhale, I want you to focus on expanding your ribs and expanding your collarbones and really filling up your entire body cavity with air. Pause at the top and then exhale slowly. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale completely. On your inhale, turn your head to the right. And then on your exhale, turn it back to the left. On the inhale, dip your head back. And then on the exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale, head to the left. Exhale to the right. Inhale, chin to your chest. And on exhale, drop your head back. Return to neutral. Let's do some gentle neck rolls. So inhale. Exhale, drop your chin to the chest. Inhale to the right. At the back, exhale to the left. Continue doing these gentle circles. Let's reverse that order. Stopping at the bottom, inhale to the left. And then exhale to the right. And continue circling to the left on the inhale and exhaling to the right. Go ahead and sit up. I'm going to move forward slightly in my chair. I'm going to move my blocks forward to follow. And we're just going to do some gentle shoulder rolls, and then we'll start to open up the spine and the body using some cat-cow movement of the spine. Inhale the shoulders up and back down on the spine. And just keep on inhaling forward and up, and then exhale back and down. Inhaling forward and up, exhaling back and down, and then inhale forward and up, exhale back and down. Let's reverse that. Inhaling back and up, forward and down, inhale back and up, exhale forward and down, inhale back and up, exhale forward and down. Let's go ahead and place our left hand on the chair. So I'm moving to my right on the camera. That might look like I'm moving to the left. That is my right. Take your right arm out and alongside your right ear as you curl your body to the left, drawing your right shoulder back in space to expose your heart center, leading with the heart in all that we do today. As you inhale, create extension by drawing your arm further to the left. On the exhale, open up your heart by drawing your right shoulder back. Inhale, reach. Exhale, draw back. One more inhale, reaching to the left. On the exhale, bring your arm behind you, kind of on the chair behind you, or even to the right if that works for you. And let's engage in a spinal twist by taking our left hand or arm and placing on the outside of our right leg and knee. And just engage in a comfortable and gentle twist, turning the entire body to the right. And just using your arms gently to encourage that twist, not yanking yourself into position. And engaging your twist from the center of your core, again, leading with your heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring that right arm up. Place it on the chair to your right. Scoot over just a little bit to accommodate and make room. Inhale, bring your left arm out to the side and up alongside your left ear as you curl to the right. Inhale, reach your hand to the left, and on your exhale, draw your left shoulder back to expose your heart center. Inhale, reach to the right. Exhale, drawing your left shoulder back. Inhale, reach to the right. Exhale, draw back. One more inhale. And on the exhale, go ahead and bring your left arm behind you, resting it on top of the chair, or even bringing it alongside the right side of the chair. Take your right hand or arm and place it on the outside of your left knee, and then start to engage in that twist, leading with your heart center. Continuing to draw your heart center to the right, to the left, and back. Generating this movement from the center of your core. One more inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring your left arm up and place it on the chair next to you. Very nice. Place your hands on your knees. Inhale, draw your heart center forward as you allow your hips to move backward, lifting your sits bones off of the chair. And then on the exhale, draw your spine to the back of the chair, curling your spine, creating a letter C with your body. Inhale, draw your heart center forward, drawing your shoulders down your back and close together on your back. And then exhale, reverse that, drawing your belly button into the spine as you curl your back towards the back of the chair. Inhale, draw your heart center forward. And then exhale, reverse that order and draw it back. One more inhale, drawing your heart center forward. And then on your exhale, bring it back. Very, very lovely. Let's go ahead and sit firmly on the chair. I don't recommend your back being against because you want to have free movement. So let's just do a little bit of free movement. Let's move with the heart. So let's make circles with the body. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving the body back and forth in space, moving to the right in a circle, and then moving backwards in a circle. Just giving the spine time to warm up. You can reverse that. Do whatever feels good to you right now. The heart is the center of joy. So let's make this a joyful practice. Let's make this one where we're leading with what our heart says it wants to do. This is a great way to open up the body if you're sitting at a desk a lot. I have to rearrange my sitting situation because I'm developing some tendonitis, I'm pretty sure, both of my elbows, so I'm going to have to re-examine my sitting situation. I've done some rearranging in our house since homeschooling began and gave up my normal desk, which meant my secretary desk doesn't really have the ergonomics that my other desk had, and I'm feeling it between my shoulders, in my elbows, and then consequently in my wrists. So this kind of spine opening stuff is actually great to take the pressure off of those tendons that are not happy these days. But I am hopeful by next week I will have a new solution. It's either going to be bringing my ball chair home or buying a new one for home or having a whole different chair set up that I've got. All righty, good job. We can stop there. Let's inhale our hands up in space. Exhale them out and down. Inhale our hands up. Exhale our hands down. Inhale up again. And then on the exhale, go ahead and lay over your legs. You can leave space by spreading your legs slightly, or you can keep your legs together, but just lay across the tops of your thighs. Don't extend your lower spine too far yet. It's first thing in the morning. The body is just warming up. Go ahead and just drop your head, drop your crown, laying across your thighs. And like I said, you can always make room for the belly if you find that comfortable for yourself by spreading your legs. Place your hands on top of your feet and inhale into a flat spine, drawing the crown of your head forward. And then exhale, drop that back down, lowering the head, dropping the crown. Inhale into a flat spine. And then exhale. Drop that back down. Drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine again. And let's engage in a little bit more of a spinal twist. So keep your left hand firmly on top of your left foot. Take your right hand to your right hip and engage in a twist to the right. This may be as far as you want to go, or if you want, you can lift up your left hand. It's kind of like a modified triangle that we're doing right now. And you should feel a nice stretch all along your right side, and you're opening up your shoulders. And just inhale and exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale, place your right hand on your right foot, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead and place your left hand on your left hip, and on your inhale, turn to your left. And if you want to raise your hand up to the ceiling and do that modified triangle like we talked about, you can do that. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, drop that back down. Inhale into a flat back, pulling the crown of your head to the front of the room. And then exhale, drop your head, drop your crown. Inhale, draw your hands out to the sides and up. And then exhale, bring your hands down to your chair and eventually back to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, hands down, and inhale your hands up. And then exhale, we're going to swan dive between the legs. You can now drop between the legs if you want, as if you're going into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale into flat spine. Exhale, drop your body, drop your head, drop your crown. And then let's reverse that swan dive all the way up. And then exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, our hands down. Inhale, our hands up. And then exhale, hands out to the side as we fold over in Uttanasana. You can have your hands on the floor if you want. Dropping your heart center, head, and crown between the legs. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, reverse it all the way up. And then exhale your hands down. Let's go ahead and step out of our chairs. So use our chairs for support today. So I'm going to take the blocks and I'm going to set them aside. And I'm going to turn my chair in a direction that makes it so that you can easily see what I am doing. So I'm going to use the back of the chair for every pose that we're going to do in the standing, just as a support. So this is really, I do want this practice to be one that anybody can do that wants to go into standing poses, but doesn't really have the strength or needs help with the balancing. This is also a course that I'm thinking of for mamas or soon to be mamas who need room for their belly, whose equilibrium might be a little bit off, whose balance might be a little bit off. Let's first start off in modified downward facing dog. So go ahead and move away from the chair such that your shoulders can be flat and your hips can be at a 90-degree angle. So moving away from the chair with your hips, extending on the back of your legs. So all down your hamstrings, you're creating a stretch. And you're also creating a stretch along your shoulders. And what I want you to do now is draw your shoulder blades onto your spine, allowing your heart center, leading with the heart again, to draw towards the floor. And just keep on pushing back in your downward dog. Engage your Mula Bandha while you're doing this to keep your lower back strong. So that means drawing up that area in the perineum. And you can also lift the muscles on the tops of your thighs above your knees to keep your legs strong. And while you're doing this, this makes this a really
wonderful stretch. Stretching out your shoulders, stretching out the backs of your legs, and allowing your heart center to descend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and rise up. Take your right foot and place it in front of you. And we are setting up for Warrior One. So in Warrior One, we've kept our left heel firmly on the floor behind us. The left leg is straight behind us. Start to bend your right leg. Your toes are facing forward. If you need to create a little bit more width in your pose by placing your left leg more to the left and your right more to the right, feel free to do that. Sometimes we need more room in our pelvis to do that. And then go ahead and just bend your leg deeply. Now, if you want to let go of your chair, you can, or you can keep one chair on or one arm on as you raise your right arm or your left arm in that Warrior One pose. Or you can raise both, whatever works for you. But whatever you do, keep your left leg straight as you bend your right leg. You can back out of the pose and have less of a bend in your right leg, but I want your heart shining up. Tilt your tailbone down and shine your heart up. One more inhale. Exhale, place your hands on the chair. Now we're going to open up into Warrior Two. So go ahead and pivot so that your left foot is kind of parallel with the mat in the back. Your right toes remain facing forward. And then tilt your tailbone down as you draw your belly button in. And then bend into your right leg. Take your left hand out to the side. Warming up the legs this morning. I can feel this in my legs even though I'm just using the chair as a support. My legs are doing the work. And then if you want, you could start to go into Peaceful Warrior. You could just hang on to the chair and do that by leaning back, allowing your left hand to rest on your left thigh. Or if you want, you can rise it up to the sky, allowing your heart center to shine up. One more inhale. And then exhale, go ahead and place your hand on the chair. Straighten out your right leg. And why don't we go into a modified triangle? So by doing so, all I'm doing is just moving my right shoulder towards the chair. And I'm just allowing my head to kind of rest on the chair, and I'm bringing my left hand up. You're still getting a nice stretch along the left side, and you can use this as an opportunity to tuck your tailbone and really work this pose, work the mechanics of it so that you remember how this feels when you want to not have the chair here. Like for vinyasa on Thursday nights, we don't use this kind of a prop. But it's kind of nice on Monday mornings to use this kind of a prop as we're just reopening up the body, getting ready for our week. Gentle beginning. It actually feels quite good. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, rise up. Going back into those Warrior Two arms. Bend your right leg. Take your left hand to the chair and move back into downward facing dog again. Now I'm going to go ahead and change the direction of the chair to the other side of my mat so that we can repeat that entire sequence on that side. So let's see here. All right, so I'm moving back away from my chair into that downward facing dog. And just stretching out, remember engaging my mula bandha, which is that root lock, by drawing my perineum in, drawing my belly button in against the spine, drawing the skin of my knees up, so engaging the muscles of my quadriceps, drawing my shoulder blades onto my back as I stretch out my shoulders. That's a lot going on in this pose. So if somebody tells you that chair yoga is easy, well, it's a wonderful opportunity to really work on these body mechanics, because these are the types of things, these are the muscle groups that you're going to engage. These are the alignment techniques that you're going to use without the chair when you're doing vinyasa flow or power flow. One more inhale. Exhale, rise up and go ahead and take your left foot and bring it into the chair. So I have to shorten my stance a little because I was pretty far away from that chair. Turning your left toe slightly forward. If you need to widen your stance, you totally can do that. So whatever works for your body. It's important that you know your body. I can tell you how to go into the poses. I can talk to you about how to move into them and how to engage your muscles, but nothing takes the place of knowing your own body. So now we are setting up for the warrior one. So we start off first with a nice straight leg behind us, bending our left knee deeply if we can, and making sure that our hip points are facing the chair. Okay, so if you have to back out of it to accomplish that, that's totally fine. But another way to encourage those hip points to match up is to imagine that you're drawing your right hip forward as you're drawing your left hip back. Pull your belly button into the spine, tilt your tailbone towards the floor, draw your shoulders back and down. This can be enough. You can raise one arm. You can raise both arms. You can go as deeply into this as you want. Extension is knowing that you can go more deeply into a pose and still have proper alignment and still be able to breathe. So how do we know when a pose is perfect and right? If we are aligned and we can still breathe. So how deeply you are into the pose is not the definition of perfection in yoga. One more inhale. And then exhale, let's open up into warrior two. Place our left arm on the chair, opening our right arm out to the side, pivoting our foot so that our edge of our right foot is on the back side of the mat or facing the back side of the mat. I have a round mat, so that creates a little confusion, but I really love this round mat for describing and showing poses to you. And then when you're in this pose, tuck your tailbone down, draw your belly button in against the spine, and bend your left leg as deeply as works for you, remembering to pull your shoulder points together on your back. And just feel the strength of this pose. Breathing in and out with evenness and control. One more inhale. And on the exhale, you can go ahead and draw your right hand down to your leg, just kind of falling over towards your right leg as we move into humble warrior. You can continue to hang on to the chair with your left hand, or you can bring your left hand up. You can even bring it overhead if you want. However you want to express yourself in this pose. Remember this practice, I want you to experience joy and lead with your heart. One more inhale. Placing our left hand on the chair, go ahead and move out of that back into warrior two. Straighten out your left leg. And let's move into triangle pose by just leaning into the chair, bending our elbow, drawing our right hand overhead. Tuck the tailbone, pull the belly button into the spine, and you can drop as far as you want. You can even place your hand on the chair if you want to drop more, but you know, there's a problem with the chair being in the way of the head, but it does allow you, if you want to use the chair as a further prop, to move more deeply into your triangle. In triangle, you always want to engage your root lock on the bottom by drawing up your perineum. Draw your belly button into the spine. Use the inner rotation of your thigh to rotate your thigh within your hip bone so that your kneecap is facing the ceiling. So you're dropping your left hip as you draw your right thigh bone more into the hip socket and rotate the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. And then press your body against that imaginary wall behind you. So there's a lot of mechanics that are going on even when you use props. Go ahead and rise up. Place your right hand on the chair, bend your left leg, and let's move back again into that downward facing dog. One more inhale. Exhale, go ahead and drop your knees. So you can be up next to the chair, or you can be a little bit away from the chair. The choice is yours. We're going to go into some modified camels. The nice thing about camel is that it's a heart-opening pose. It's a wonderful, there are many ways that you can do camel, so it's for people of all levels of yoga. So we'll start off with the most beginner level of camel. And what I want you to focus on is drawing your heart center up. This is a heart exposing pose. So go ahead and sit down and place your hands on your side. This may be uncomfortable for you. So if you want, you can sit on a block. Like so. So if that's too hard on your knees, you can move out of that a little bit by putting another cushion or blanket on top, or you can even just go back up on top of your knees, whatever works for you. But sitting down on your knees, I want you to place your hands on top of your thighs, draw your shoulder blades back onto your spine, and allow your heart center to rise up to the ceiling. Imagine that there's a string coming down from the ceiling attached to the center of your chest, and it's drawing your chest up. And then you can open up your throat if that is something that you would enjoy. And feel the freedom of this. Feel the openness of this camel pose, creating just a little bit of an arch in your spine. One more inhale. And then exhale, release out of that by drawing your chin down, releasing your shoulders. The next version that we're going to do is up on our knees. So go ahead and grab the chair. You can hold your chair down here. You can hold your chair up top, whatever is working for you. I'm going to hold the chair low at the bottom. And again, what I encourage you to do is you're going to lift up out of your hips. And the way that you do that is you draw your belly button up and against the spine. You tilt your tailbone down slightly. So that lifts you out of your hips and kind of releases the lower back a little bit, okay? And then I want you to draw your shoulders back and down and together and start to lift your heart center up. And just lift, 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 lift. Continuing to lift out of your lower back, continuing to draw your heart center up. And in doing so, by drawing your shoulder blades back and down your spine, you are creating a little bit of a curl and you are opening up your throat, revealing your heart center, revealing your joy. You can dip your head back if that's comfortable for you, or you can just leave it slightly back. Inhale. And then exhale, let's release out of that by drawing our chin to our chest and just kind of moving our shoulders a little bit forward and just sitting up tall, but not so fully extended. So that's the next version of it. Then the next version that I'm going to invite you to is you can take a block. You can place your block back by your feet. So I'm going to have it this way, and I'm going to be placing my hand on my block. So you're going to inhale,
your heart center up nice and high, remembering all those other alignment points that I gave you. Inhaling up, and then on the exhale, go ahead and place your hand on your block and start to curl backwards, leaning on that block. Go ahead and push your hips forward slightly. One more inhale, and then exhale. Draw your chin to your chest, pushing up and out. Take your block and move it to the other side. We're going to do that on the other side now. Hanging onto your chair again. Inhale, your heart center up, lifting up out of your lower spine, out of your hips. And then begin to curl back on your exhale, drawing your shoulder blades back and down and away from your ears, holding onto that block as you curl backwards, pushing your hips forward. One more inhale, and then exhale. Draw your chin to your chest as you rise up. Now, if you want to join me in a more extended version, you can, or you can do one of those versions that I showed you. So I'm going to tip my tailbone, and I'm actually going to release from the chair a bit. So I'm going to widen my knees. I'm going to place my hands initially on the lower part of the chair, inhaling my heart center up, rising up out of my pelvis, out of my hips, drawing my belly button up and in as I tip my tailbone, and I reach back for my heels. And inhaling my heart center up, and on the exhale, drawing my shoulder points together on the back and pushing my hips forward, opening up my throat as I dip my head back. One more inhale, and then on the exhale, draw your chin to your chest, place your left hand on the chair or your right hand, and then rise up. And then go ahead and sit back on your legs. You can move your chair forward as we go into a child's pose. Your child's pose, I recommend you widen your legs to make room for your belly. And then just go ahead and use the legs of the chair, pushing those forward to stretch out your back in a counter pose in child's pose. You'll see that my belly is not touching the floor, so this is a safe pose for mamas, and you can always rise out of it, and you can always lift up your hips. There are lots of options to make accommodations if you need to make room for your growing belly. One more inhale, and then exhale. Go ahead and place your hands on the floor. Move backwards in space so that you're sitting back up. I'm going to place the block aside. Twist my knees together. Rise up on my knees. Use the chair to stand up, and then go ahead and stand up. So chair yoga is not just being in the chair. Sometimes we get out of the chair and we use that chair for support. So now I'm going to go ahead and sit down in the chair, and we're going to round off our routine with some openers for the hips. Okay? So one thing I'm going to encourage is that we sit forward in our chair a lot and just kind of widen our knees. So for you mamas that are about to, bring a new life, a new bundle of joy into the world, you need to do a lot of hip opening, right? And so you can sit safely on the chair and just kind of work your knees apart. Just make sure that your feet are in firm contact with the floor. Make sure that your sit bones are in firm contact with whatever chair you're sitting on. And you can even undulate the spine a little bit. So draw your heart center forward. When you bring your knees together, draw your back towards the back of the chair, kind of encouraging cat-cow while we're opening our legs and closing our legs. All right?
creating some fluidity in the joints, creating some movement. Now, if you would like, for the mamas, I can also show you a safe way to go into Malasana using the chair. So Malasana is garland pose. Garland pose is the yogi squat. So what you want to do is start with your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Go ahead, and right now my hands are on top of the chair and my booty is kind of out behind me. My legs are straight, my back is straight. What I want you to do is gently lower down into Malasana. So if you want to raise up your toes to do that, you can. You can also take a blanket and you can place that blanket underneath your heels. I said raise your toes, didn't I? I meant to say raise your heels. So you can place that blanket underneath your heels because some people, their Achilles tendons don't accommodate going down. But let's start with our feet so that our heels are on the blanket, and just go ahead and squat down, okay? Don't worry about whether or not this looks good or doesn't look good. That's not the point. The point is how you feel. So using the chair to support you is fine, or if you want to go into a more open version of the pose, you can widen your feet a little bit more, place your elbows in between your thighs, bring your hands to your heart center, and use your elbows to widen your legs. So my elbows are on the inside of the knees, and my hands are against my heart center. And then you can just sit here and enjoy this opening of this pose. This is going to be real important for you, mamas. So we're going to be bringing your bundles of joy into the world, that you be able to be open. If you find that you need some support for your bottom, you can move the blanket and just sit on a block if that is your preference as well. So you can still have those pelvis and hip opening benefits by doing this. And you can still work your thighs apart using your elbows, sitting up nice and tall. You can still do that. So you have some options there. So like I said, not all chair yoga is right in the chair. Okay. Go ahead and inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, place your hands on the chair. Go ahead and move that block out. I'm going to move mine in front of where my chair is going to be because I need that height. Okay, I'm going to sit back in my chair now. And now we're going to do seated pigeon. Seated pigeon can be done anywhere, anytime. It's a wonderful pose for beginning to open up your hips. So placing your left foot kind of more towards the center so that your leg is just straight out from your thigh. Take your right knee up to the chest. Just hold it against your right shoulder. And then rotate it. So take your left hand on your left foot, placing your left ankle on top. Take your left hand on your right foot, placing your right ankle on top of your left knee. I realized I did that again. I'm always doing that. It's a joke, but I'm always saying kind of the wrong side of the body. Draw your toes back to protect that knee, particularly drawing your pinky toes back towards your knee. You can even take your big toe mount and kind of turn it down a little bit, and that protects this knee. You might feel some tension on the right side of the knee. That comes from actually how open up the hip is and how the iliotibial band, the IT band, is connecting into the outside of your knee. So you may find one side is different than the other. You monitor it as you need to. If you are having too much knee pain, you can just lift that leg up slightly and support it with your right hand. So now that we are in pigeon, you can just stay here and sit nice and tall and allow your hips to open naturally. Or you can inhale and grow the crown of your head to the ceiling. And then on the exhale, you can begin to fold over that leg and encourage an opening of your right hip. You'll feel a stretch all along the outside of your thigh. You might feel it in your hip. You might feel it in your piriformis, near your sits bones. You might even feel it, a stretch along the top part of your hip where it connects to your back. Wherever you're feeling it, just breathe into that sensation. And you'll increase your stretch by drawing your heart center and the crown of your head further forward. Instead of going down, going forward. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, go ahead and rise up. We're going to switch our feet. So I'm going to move my block slightly so that I have room to have my right leg perfectly straight out from my hip. So I don't want it turned. I don't want it out here. I want it squared off. Then I'm going to take my left knee, draw it up to my left shoulder. Drawing, drawing, drawing. And I'm going to take my right knee to my left ankle and rotate my leg so that my left ankle is sitting on top of my right thigh. I'm going to draw my foot back, draw my toes back, so flex my foot, flex my toes, draw my pinky toes particularly back towards my knee, and maybe even encourage the big toe mound to kind of turn down just a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to support my left knee with my left hand. This side feels completely different to me. I feel no tension in my knee on this side because my left hip has always been more open all of my life. But I'm not going to exploit that. I'm going to treat it the same as the other side. So I'm going to inhale, my crown of my head high to the ceiling. And then I'm going to exhale, drawing my heart center forward, drawing my head forward. So as I'm folding down, I'm drawing my heart center and drawing my crown of my head forward. And in doing so, you will feel a maximum stretch kind of right where your hip bone meets your thigh in the back and right along the outside of the hip. It should feel good. Go ahead and rise up. On the inhale and on the exhale, go ahead and cross your legs and let's engage in a twist. And then go ahead and uncross your legs, cross them again, and engage in a twist on the other side. And then go ahead and put your feet together. My computer is giving me a warning because I don't have it plugged in, so I'm going to have to wrap this up in the next minute or so for you. I'm going to encourage you now to sit back in Shavasana, sitting up, resting against your chair, and do a scan of your body. Let me go ahead and get that cord while you're doing that. A lot of times I have no problem with my battery life. My computer has another program running to do a backup right now, so it's taking up extra energy resources. There we go. Okay. So sitting back, I want you to start to scan your body. Look for any places in the body where you may feel tension, where you may feel that the breath is kind of stalling.
Starting with the crown of your head, take an inhale. And on your exhale, release all the tension in the crown of your head. Allow it to melt down and melt away. Inhale. Draw your attention to your facial muscles and relax all of your facial muscles. Inhale. Drawing your attention to your shoulders, to your neck. Release any tension, relax them. Inhale. On your exhale, draw attention to your midsection, to your arms, to your hands. And relax all of those areas. Inhale. And draw attention to your hips, allowing them to sink firmly into the chair. Draw attention to your thighs and relax them. And then on your final inhale, draw attention to your shins and your ankles and your feet and fully relax them all. While you are sitting here, and I will play some music for you, I would like you to focus on what it is in your life that brings you joy. Using this time to fill your bucket with gratitude. Imagine the faces of those you love, perhaps your pets, perhaps places that are joyful, perhaps things that you do that are joyful. Imagine this kind of joy leading your day, leading your week, leading your life. They say that we should run to things and not away. So what is it that is so wonderful that would make you run towards it? Draw your attention to your heart center, knowing that your heart center is the place where joy comes and emanates from. That when we lead with the heart, it is good. The color of the heart chakra isn't pink as we might think it should be. It is green. The heart chakra joins your higher consciousness, everything above the heart, with everything that's below, which is all of our physical functioning, all of our basic instincts. Imagine that heart glowing. Imagine it more like a diamond, pointing up and pointing down, glowing in a beautiful green, pale green. Continue to build on that thought of your heart as the center of your joy, the center of your love, the love you have for yourself, and that love that you share with those around you, and that joy that you share. While you're sitting there, I'll go ahead and play you some gentle music. So with those 3 chimes, I invite you to come back to the present moment. I invite you to join me as we do 3 final breaths before we complete our practice this morning. Inhale our hands up. Exhale our hands down. Inhale our hands up. Exhale our hands out and down. And then inhale our hands up again. And then exhale, drawing our hands to our heart center, bowing our head. May this practice set your week off well. May you be able to start your week with an intention of joy, leading with your heart. The light in me joins the light in you. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. Namaste. Thank you for coming.